Welcome once again aboard our ship, on a continuous journey toward the essence of truth. Since our journey began, we have been sailing through waves of questions, searching for answers, and moving step by step closer to the light that dispels the darkness of ignorance. In the previous episode, we reflected on the question, does knowing the Creator require using all means together? And today, we continue our voyage across this vast sea to address a new question. Are there laws that govern my life and my relationship with Allah? Let us continue this journey together, for the road ahead is still long, the heart still beats with passion, and the mind remains thirsty for more knowledge. Have you ever gazed at the sky on a clear night? Those scattered stars in a vast space, each moving in its orbit, never colliding with another, never straying from its path. The sun rises every day on time, and the moon alternates between its phases with astonishing regularity. But what is the secret behind this order? It is the laws set by Allah, unchanging, unalterable laws. If the sun were to deviate from its orbit or the earth were to stop rotating, life would cease to exist. This precision indicates that the universe is not the product of chance, and that Allah did not leave anything within it to randomness. The law of gravity or the laws of thermodynamics ensure the stability of the universe. If any of these laws were to be disrupted, the cosmic order would collapse. All creatures are subject to strict natural laws. Animals, plants, and even inanimate objects all operate within a defined system. The physicist Albert Einstein once said, Allah does not play dice with the universe, referring to the fact that the universe is governed by precise and organized laws. So, if the entire universe is governed by fixed laws, does it make sense for humans, who are part of this system, to be exempt from laws? Could humans be left to act without guidance or framework? If we use our minds and reflect on the universe, we find that every creature has a purpose and goal for its existence. For example, plants exist to serve as food for both humans and animals, and the sun plays a crucial role for all living beings. When we look at humans, we see that they are the only beings endowed with a will and a mind capable of making choices, which indicates that they were created for a greater purpose. It is logical that this being has an important function to fulfill on Earth, surpassing mere survival, as part of achieving the greater purpose Allah has set for this universe. So how could Allah define for us the purpose of our existence, and then leave us without laws to guide us in achieving this purpose? Wouldn't that require us to reflect deeply and search for meaning? When we observe the relationships between creatures, we find that Allah has established a precise system and harmonious relationships among all things. The sun and moon move according to fixed laws. Plants grow due to the interaction of light, water, and soil, and even the human body operates with amazing harmony among the heart, brain, and other organs. This perfection in the relationships between parts of a single entity and between creatures and nature demonstrates Allah's wisdom in organizing everything. It is therefore logical, even necessary, that Allah has established laws governing relationships between humans and themselves, between humans and nature, and between humans and Allah. To ensure the continuation of this balance and harmony in the entire universe, and to achieve the purpose for which it was created. Thus, it is logical that Allah has provided a roadmap for our individual and collective lives to ensure that we live in a way that fulfills the purpose for which we were created. As humans, when we want to organize a conference involving different countries, we carefully establish laws and protocols beforehand. We set meeting dates, agendas, rules governing dialogue, and even hospitality arrangements. Why? Because we know that the absence of organization leads to chaos. If we, as humans with limited capabilities, do not tolerate chaos even in the simplest of matters, How can we assume that Allah, who created the entire universe, would leave humans, his most important creation, without clear laws to guide their lives? Throughout the history of humanity, since its dawn, we have witnessed a fascinating phenomenon that transcends the boundaries of time and place. A phenomenon that unites humans despite their different homelands and languages. It is the deep moral laws embedded in the depths of human nature, like a hidden compass guiding us toward goodness and making us feel guilt when we stray from the right path. These laws are not merely rules created by humans. They are eternal signs emanating from the depths of our innate nature, telling us that there is a higher system governing this universe. Divine laws that do not change with time or place. These are laws written in hearts before they were written in books, laws that unite humans before borders and differences divide them. In ancient tribes, in great civilizations, these laws formed the foundation upon which societies were built. There was no need for someone to say, "Do not kill," because humans instinctively knew that killing is a crime. There was no debate over whether theft was wrong, because everyone felt that internally. Aren't these laws a hidden imprint pointing to something greater? Did you notice how these moral laws transcend any specific religion or culture? In ancient Egypt, Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice, symbolized ethics and order. The Egyptians believed that their souls would be weighed after death based on their moral deeds. In China, Confucius spoke of virtue and the necessity for humans to live a moral life based on honesty and kindness. In Hinduism, there is the concept of dharma, the moral law governing an individual's life and relationships with others. Everywhere, the condemnation of injustice, deceit, and aggression was present, as if all humans had read from the same book. But the question I leave with you is, where did these laws come from? Are they merely a product of social evolution? Or are they a reflection of something deeper, something planted within us from birth? When a person commits a wrongdoing, they feel guilt. It is a strange feeling, something not easily explained. Why does a murderer feel remorse? Why does a thief run away, even if no one sees them? Why does a liar avoid making eye contact with those they lie to? These questions take us deep into human nature. Freud, the famous psychologist, spoke of the superego, the part of the psyche that represents the conscience and guides the individual toward right and wrong. But he wondered, where does this inner voice come from? Carl Jung, on the other hand, described the existence of a collective unconscious, where all of humanity shares similar symbols and moral ideas, as if we all carry the same legacy. The philosopher Immanuel Kant once said his famous words, "Two things fill my heart with admiration, the starry sky above me and the moral law within me." He believed that this moral law is evidence of the existence of a great creator who engraved these principles in the hearts of humans so they would not need a written guide to know right from wrong. Some may argue that these moral laws are merely a result of social evolution, something that developed because societies needed it to survive. But if morality were merely a tool for survival, why does a person sacrifice themselves for others? Why do they stand against injustice, even if it costs them their life? Why did Gandhi sacrifice his life for the freedom of his nation? Why did Nelson Mandela stand against racial discrimination, enduring decades of imprisonment? Why do soldiers give their lives in wars defending their homelands? If morality were simply a means of survival, why would a person choose to sacrifice themselves for their values? Isn't this evidence of something deeper, something beyond self-interest? Something that stems from our connection to a creator who wanted our lives to be built upon goodness? Moral laws are planted deep within humans, as if they are an internal map guiding us towards goodness and making us feel guilt when we do wrong. Yet, despite the clarity of these innate laws, humans have faced immense challenges in adhering to them. Why? Because human nature is complex, a combination of goodness and weakness. Greed, selfishness, and the fear of loss often push people to override these innate laws, choosing the path of personal gain over moral correctness. As time passed, societies grew larger, and the need for clear rules became more urgent. The first cities emerged, and then states and humans began drafting laws. One of the earliest attempts to codify laws was the Code of Hammurabi, which appeared 3,700 years ago in Babylon. Imagine the scene. Massive stone tablets inscribed with carefully written texts, proclaiming to the people that a system exists to protect them. But did this protection extend to everyone? Of course not. The justice these laws promised was bound by class divisions. Nobles received light punishments, while common people bore heavier burdens. Even at that initial moment of written law's birth, injustice was deeply ingrained in its fabric. Then came the Roman Empire, where law took on its most advanced form. However, it was not more just slaves, who were the backbone of the Roman economy, were not considered human beings, but property that could be bought and sold. Their lives were at the mercy of their masters, with no rights and no dignity. The law, which was supposed to be a tool of fairness, had turned into another shackle binding the necks of the weak. With the arrival of the 18th century, new voices began to rise, asking, why are laws crafted to serve the few? Why is the majority deprived of its right to freedom? Jean-Jacques Rousseau was one such thinker who did not merely observe the world but sought to change it. In his book, The Social Contract, he wrote, "Man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains." His words were a cry against injustice. Rousseau was not calling for chaos, but for laws that stem from the will of the people. Laws not imposed by elites, but that serve everyone. These ideas were like sparks that ignited the fire of the French Revolution. The revolution toppled the old royal laws, which had protected the aristocracy and kept the poor enslaved to them. But toppling laws was not enough. Between the collapse of the old system and the emergence of a new one, France plunged into utter chaos. People were searching for justice, but found themselves in a maze with no exit. It was as if history was telling us that tearing down unjust laws is not enough. Just alternatives must be built. With the arrival of the 19th century and the onset of the Industrial Revolution, which reshaped the world, new tensions arose. The poor, working long hours in factories, living in dire conditions, and deprived of their most basic rights, began to seek voices to speak on their behalf. In this atmosphere, Emile Durkheim wrote in his book The Division of Labor in Society, "Human laws are a reflection of society's need for order, but they fail when crafted based on immediate interests rather than shared moral values." Elsewhere in the world, laws were taking on a new form, but they were not more just. In the United States, after the Civil War, the Jim Crow laws emerged, enshrining racial segregation between blacks and whites, turning the law into a tool to perpetuate discrimination. In South Africa, the system of apartheid began to take shape gradually. As Nelson Mandela once said, "To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity." Human laws, no matter how just, can never replace the sense of moral responsibility that comes from the human conscience. But unjust laws have not gone unchallenged. In the United States, Martin Luther King Jr. led the civil rights movement, using civil disobedience to demonstrate that justice does not arise from blind obedience to unjust laws. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela led a long struggle against apartheid, becoming a global symbol of freedom and equality. Here, Gandhi famously said, "A law that is not based on morality is nothing but a tool of oppression, for it cannot make humans better. It can only frighten them." These movements were proof that human laws, no matter how advanced they may seem, are not always just and require constant reevaluation. One of the most famous judges to express an opinion on laws was the English judge William Blackstone, who said, "The law is the highest expression of human reason when it is founded on justice, but it becomes tyranny when it is used as a tool to serve power instead of truth." The French judge and philosopher Montesquieu said, "The laws made by humans are not always just, as they are often crafted to serve the interests of the powerful, and they cannot refine souls or heal hearts." And here the mind pauses in contemplation. If humans are incapable of creating laws that are fully just and universal, is there an alternative? Isn't it logical to consider the need for a higher law, a law that transcends human interests, a law that comes from a supreme source? A law that does not change with time or place, and one that is not subject to the whims of authority or personal interests. For many, religion is this answer. It provides a comprehensive vision of the world, establishes laws of conduct, and gives humans a sense of being part of something greater than themselves. We have come one step closer to the truth, and on the horizon appears a question that could lead us to knowledge of the Creator. Could it be that religion is the law set by the Creator? In the next episode, inshallah, we will delve into this question together and search for the answer. We will try to uncover together. Can the Creator be known as He truly is through multiple paths, or has He defined a specific path that, if followed, will lead us to Him? In the next episode, Allah willing, we will face this question together and explore the answer. Your journey to the truth is an ongoing one. It may seem challenging and long, but it is worth every effort made to reach the desired goal. It is a journey that requires patience, reflection, and deep thought, but it ultimately holds the most beautiful meanings and profound values. Stay with us, for the answer to this question may be a new key to a deeper understanding of our lives and purposes. The horizon is still vast before us, and the journey has not yet ended. I ask Allah to make us among those who learn and act upon what they have learned, so that our knowledge becomes a light that illuminates our path in this world and the hereafter. Peace be upon you, and the mercy and blessings of Allah.